Welcome to another Lightning Strikes Twice. We have one topic apiece, 5 minutes per topic, and take it away.
All right. Well, that was quite succinct.
Mhm.
Very
That's the
brief.
point.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, I guess this is kind of a current events-ish kind of thing. Um, that joke about Canada becoming the 51st state and this and that. And so get this, like Alberta, the province of Alberta, yet again, but now it's even more seriously considered and maybe close to being attempted to like separate and become its own country. What do you think about that?
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. I would I would have expected that from Saskatchewan. Like they're more like the Texas of
Yeah.
Canada, aren't
Well, and
they?
so Alberta is kind of similar in a way.
Uh,
They're both real well, and like some of the discussions that I've watched and stuff, it's like both Saskatchewan and Albertans, people from those regions are like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. uh, and there's a bunch of people in the U.S. that are like supporting them, like, hey, whatever, maybe you could just become a territory of the U.S. and be your own sovereign thing, and like they were like, everybody's kind of like, yeah, yeah, why not? and but I think it's like interesting. Looking into it though, it would be really, really difficult. They would need essentially the support, just like it's secession in the U.S. They would need the support of like the other states, in this case, the provinces.
uh-huh.
If ever, but here's the thing: the sentiment in Canada towards Saskatchewan and Alberta, like the other people, is kind of like, yeah, let them leave.
Right.
They resent them, so like both sides resent each other, and it's like in that's not a healthy relationship, you know.
No, I'm all for like countries becoming smaller and like
Yeah,
doing their own thing and stuff. Why has it got to be so hard? Like,
yeah.
imagine that. Like, it's a little bit like a gang. Like,
Hmm.
okay, now you're in, but if you want out, you
Fight a
gotta
war.
cut your left testicle off or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Well, and I could see, like, I don't, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, honestly. It could be kind of like maybe they're separate but also have some kind of agreements with the other provinces, and maybe like join up with those provinces and the US to kind of, like, okay, we're separate but we're on the same plane essentially, and like still have trade agreements and all that kind of stuff, because that's obviously really important.
yeah,
And in that, it's sort of like, you know how you have like kind of a caustic relationship, and it's really, really bad, and you're always arguing, and and then finally you break up, and then eventually you like reconnect, and like, oh yeah, now you're just friends, and the friendship is great. But like when you're tied up in the relationship, it's just feeding this resentment, and
yeah,
negativity. So maybe that's a good thing. And maybe they could eventually say, like, all right, maybe it's time to come back. But I think like the important thing
well,
is like,
what do you think about Cascadia? Like, there's
oh
that
yeah.
proposal to take like Vancouver, BC or something like that general area, maybe not the whole province,
Hmm.
all the way down through like parts of California and parts of Oregon and maybe a little chunk of Idaho. I can't remember exactly what the lines
Yeah,
were, but
yeah. Well, and there were ideas in the US of like rotating the borders of Washington state and Oregon essentially. So it's like there'd be a western state that's
mm.
Western Oregon and Washington, and an
Oh,
eastern
yeah, yeah.
state, because like those two sides are far different. And like that, again, this is the same thing in Washington. Like, you know, the people in Alberta think Ottawa is lording over them, and stuff, and people in Eastern Washington think that Olympia is lording over them. We all know it's Seattle, but still. um, and it's the same thing in Oregon. They're like, oh man, Portland, they just kind of dictate all this stuff, and it doesn't help us. And like, yeah, maybe we should kind of reconfigure the landscape a little bit, and I think that's good. And like you said, why would it have to be difficult? And why would it have to be like an angry thing? You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah, and I've always heard, at least in terms of the US, that like if a country or a well, a state did secede and become a country,
Mhm.
it would just instantly get like attacked by the US or something.
No,
Like I don't know if that was just like somebody's opinion, but I
I think
mean
so.
it
Yeah.
it tracks, like, you know, it follows the US's sort of behavior as being
Well,
a little bit aggressive
to
and
be fair, we've only
domineering.
had that really one time. Um, but like I think it would just be like a separation, and then trade would just be, you just kind of rewrite the book essentially.
Hmm.
I don't think it wouldn't have to be like some kind of antagonistic uh situation.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's like I could see California also, this talk of California, like they want to become kind of their own country. Same with Texas. Texas used to be its own country and then decided to join the US. And like, yeah, those two could probably leave and be completely self-contained and independent. And then just that's it. Like, and I think that's fine. Like, why not? Oh man, damn. But yeah, I agree. I'm like, I'm with you in that like countries should be getting smaller. We don't need like these big behemoth monolithic state
Yeah.
structures that because it just it's not healthy.
Nope.
All right, so on to you then.
All right. Well, I had slated one for philosophy that might actually kind of play into this a little bit.
As usual.
It's posing the question, is violence really never the answer?
Ooh, man. Well, I think in response to things, obviously, like if you're attacked, you need to physically attack back to
Right.
fight somebody off or whatever the situation. You know, if it's like a community or a country or whatever, like, I mean, you do need to use aggressive behavior
Yeah.
to counter
I,
that.
I'm talking about more like in where in the optics of something, let's say it would look like you're the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like in any skirmish across the world, this, however large or small, you see somebody with their own vantage point as not being the bad guy, even though everyone else does. So it's
Yeah.
like, what would constitute like being pushed to that point, if
Mm.
anything, in your opinion? You know?
Well, yeah, I mean that's I guess it depends on the circumstances. We can talk about like current conflicts like Gaza and Israel and Ukraine and Russia, things like that. I mean there's like quite a few more going on.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like I think it's the scale of response. Like when Israel was attacked, essentially that attack, they had every right to go in and push back a little bit. But I think now the amount of pushing back that they've done is far in excess of what would be like justifiable. It's
Right.
way over the top. And maybe
Yeah.
it's the result of a lot of internal anger that's been building over the years and stuff. But so it's like, okay, kind of like the first Gulf War, right? Kuwait asked for help. The US and some other countries got together. They sent in forces, got Saddam's dudes out of there. They bombed Baghdad and a couple different things. And then they just buggered off. And it's like, okay, well, that's good. They just left him alone. And it's like, okay, that is actually a justifiable response. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then when we had like 9/11 and we go into Afghanistan to go root out the terrorists or whatever, and then somehow magically wiggle our way over to Iraq.
Yeah. All
Okay,
of a sudden we're in Iraq. Yeah.
that was never justified, like, and even it's just some of those are kind of murky. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, certainly emotions. Well, we should always avoid emotional responses, but they do play a part. I know a lot of people signed up for the military post 9/11 because they were angry and they just wanted to
Mm.
kill people. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that we don't want that, that we don't want that kind of attitude. It's got to be like, okay, you have to have a logical, methodical response to things. Like, okay, the only way out of this situation is violence, because
Yeah.
there probably are situations where that may be the case. Um, for instance, like if you're a prisoner, right? Like improperly imprisoned, right? Like a
Mhm.
POW or whatever, and maybe they're not doing anything directly violent to you, simply just putting you in a box, right?
Right.
Well, you have every right to use violence to get out of that, because imprisonment is a form of something akin to that.
Right.
It's the use of force, basically.
Well, as far as I see it too, like just slowly stripping away at freedoms,
Mm-hmm.
uh, even if it's not like violence or anything like that, like they're not beating on you or handcuffing you in that moment,
Yeah.
like they're not going to stop if you just ask them nicely.
No,
So,
no. Maybe really early on, but like once the tendrils have worked their way down into the system and it's gotten bigger,
yeah,
then yeah, you asking nicely doesn't always work.
yeah,
Um,
but it's the little fish in a big pond thing, like
yeah,
yeah, how
yeah.
much how much is your voice going to resonate?
Well, the thing is, humans are naturally very complacent when it comes to like they'll accept a lot of really what you could call oppression, honestly, like loss
Hmm.
of freedoms and dictatorial control. They'll let it go pretty far before people respond to that.
Oh yeah.
And that's the problem, really, isn't it? Because like, okay, it initially whatever kind of little mini oppression might be happening isn't that big of a deal. You can kind of be like, whatever. But then by the time it snowballs and becomes this really huge force, well, now it's almost too late. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's crazy, man. I don't know, like that. It's tough though. Like, oh shit.
Oh man.
I figure you had a thought that. Sorry, I just kind of.
Yeah, but it would probably draw on pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into the just following orders stuff
Oh
and
God, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
know. Well, that's ever the problem.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, all right. Those were good. I'm sure those are both topics that will bring up some conversation for sure.
Oh yeah.
Leave your comments down there in the comment section and uh, do all that. And we do this every week. So stick around till next week and there will be yet another one. And yep. And of course we
And
have our
if
live.
you're our second viewer on this video, you win a free hug.